In this past week's Torah portion, Parashah Beshalach, the text opens with a detail that many of us skim over. As the children of Israel leave Egypt, the text tells us that they were armed, prepared for what lies ahead. And then the text tells us, Moses took the bones of Joseph with him, for Joseph had made the Israelites swear an oath, saying, God will surely take care of you, and you shall carry up my bones from here with you. This is Exodus 13, verses 18 to 19. Moses pauses to honor a promise, to bring Joseph's bones toward the land that he never lived to see. This act represents something very deep. We do not leave family behind, even their bones. Bones symbolize what remains when memory seems to fade. Moses is fulfilling a promise. He is ensuring that a loved one's remains will be brought into the embrace of the land of Israel. This is a Torah value that Jews have lived with for millennia. We honor the dead, and by doing so, we honor life itself. Thousands of years later, we still carry this value in our souls. Last week, after more than 2 years since the horrors of October 7th, the State of Israel announced the recovery of the remains of the last Israeli hostage from Gaza, the body of Master Sergeant Ran Gvili, taken during that murderous assault, was found, identified, and brought home for burial. It marked the end of a long chapter of hostages from that day. And just as Moses did not abandon Joseph's bones, neither has the modern state of Israel or the Jewish people abandoned its own. Families, communities, a whole nation have refused to let the memory of those taken alive or dead be lost. They search and demand, bring them home, every single one of them. The words etzem, bone, is related with atzmi, my very self, the core. It reminds us that to abandon the remains of others is to abandon identity itself. Carrying the bones is carrying the soul of a people. This past week was also International Holocaust Remembrance Day, a time when the world pauses to remember the 6 million Jews that were murdered and the countless others who suffered unspeakable violence. This, in juxtaposition of studying the Torah portion and this concept of bones, reminded me of last year at the National World War II Museum here in New Orleans on Yom HaShoah, where the keynote speaker was Father Patrick Debois, a Jesuit priest and forensic investigator who leads Yachad in Unum. His work has uncovered thousands of mass grave sites across Eastern Europe, giving voice and dignity to the estimated 1.5 to 2 million Jewish victims of the Holocaust that were killed by bullets, people whose names and resting places were meant to disappear in mass graves. And as I listened to Father Debois speak, I realized that his work is profoundly biblical. He is also doing in our time what Moses did in Parashah Beshalach, refusing to let the dead be abandoned, refusing to let the memory be erased, insisting that even when a life has been reduced to bones in the earth, it still deserves dignity, name, and remembrance. But the Torah knows something else as well. That memory is not only about honoring the past, it is also about guarding the future. Memory can be protected, but also memory can be attacked. And there are forces in the world that do not merely kill bodies, but they seek to erase identity and history itself. And that is why our Torah portion closes with another command. Remember what Amalek did to you. This is Exodus chapter 17, verse 14. Amalek's attack was irrational and unprovoked. They were striking the weak, the worn, the vulnerable. It was senseless cruelty. Amalek represents a spirit that thrives on destruction and dehumanizing the other. Through the ages, the spirit of Amalek has taken many forms, from ancient warriors to medieval pogromists, modern ideologies like Nazism, and others that sought not just to conquer land, but to obliterate life and memory. Amalek hates what we cherish most, our commitment to life, to dignity, and to remembering every person. What then is our answer to Amalek? It is not only force, it is memory, compassion, and dignity. In about 4 weeks, on Shabbat Zachor, we will hear this command of remembering Amalek again as we prepare for Purim. But it is also an implicit command to remember every life that evil sought to erase, to remember their faces, their names, their stories, to refuse to let memory become vague, symbolic, or just convenient. And here I want to pause because remembrance itself is fragile. We're living in a time when Holocaust language is used casually, when hyperbole replaces precision, when moral outreach seeks the strongest possible comparison and too often reaches for the Holocaust. But we must say this clearly. Not every political rival is a Nazi. A detention facility is not Auschwitz. Detained children, no matter how tragic their situation, are not Anne Frank. No matter how deeply we oppose a policy or an ideology, and we may be entirely right in our opposition, but we cannot jump to those comparisons. We are not living under Nazism. We are not ruled by Nazis. And when we flatten history into metaphor, we do not strengthen our moral argument. We just weaken it. Even more troubling is how often the Holocaust is referenced without Jews. When public statements by servants, politicians, or other people in the media avoid the word Jew, or when the number 6 million is never mentioned, the memory of the Nazis is being applied to every discomforting political action, while the memory of the victims, the Jews who were systematically persecuted and eradicated, is being blurred into oblivion. And that, too, is a form of forgetting. As we read Parashah Beshalach, let us see the arc of the Parashah as a journey from memory at the start of redemption to moral vigilance at its closing. Moses carried Joseph's bones toward a future of hope. Israel carried the remains of its sons and daughters back to the land. We carry the memory of the Holocaust in our hearts and in our names. And we face the command, remember Amalek, not merely as history, but as a living moral challenge, to stand against hatred, to protect the vulnerable, to defend human dignity, and to guard the truth of memory itself.